Noel Nation, Florida State comes out and gets it done. I was a little worried, I'm not going to lie. With as much as we struggled on offense, you began to wonder, is this defense going to be able to wear this offense down and dominate in the fourth quarter like we have all year long? Was this running game going to be able to, eventually wear down on these guys? And we saw it, man. Fourth quarter, we started getting a hat on a hat, and they ran this ball just enough to get the victory. Brock Glenn, he did just enough of managing the game to get us through. And 13-0, ACC champions for the first time since 2014. And now they have 30 days, whether it be a playoff game like me and Jen, I expect her to tell us she's expecting, or a bowl game. They're going to have a month to prepare Tate Rodemaker to get healthy and to have him back in the lineup as the starting quarterback. How are we feeling, Jen? ACC champs.
So good. This was our goal, seriously. And to go 13-0 is insane, honestly. When you looked at the schedule, like starting the year, how did you feel, honestly?
I mean, I picked this to go 11-1. I thought we were going to split, those first two of the big games in September. I thought, maybe Clemson or LSU could sneak one by, but yeah, for us to go 13-0 and sweep the season, you can't be happier. And with a third string quarterback to boot,
yeah,
and a
it's
backup
crazy.
Going into the Florida game was just, really something special.
It's really crazy. And, I think we're should I go ahead and say it? We're going to have a guest on Tuesday that's going to explain this to everybody. But the fact that everybody was discounting the Florida win with a backup was crazy. And this person is going to explain why. And now I'm so excited. And we don't have to talk about that now. Obviously.
Let them know. Don't allude to nothing like that. Tell them what's up.
We're going to have the Power Walk-On guys on Tuesday.
Preferred Walk-On guys.
They're the
official podcast of Pro Football Focus. What's his name? I believe it's Max Chadwick is his name.
Yes, Matt Chadwick. I am so excited. I am such a huge fan. And the fact that we get them on and we get the win is huge.
Yes,
this
ma'am.
This is going to be huge. And I cannot wait to hear everything they have to say, because you guys, this is my go-to podcast. And I even said that to Max. I was like, look, as a female who watches sports, when other women want to impress men, I send them to your podcast. Exactly.
Absolutely.
That is what I do.
Cannot wait to
go ahead. I get it. I just am so excited for this win. It was incredible. And the fact that they did it with the third string, and if the committee wants to leave them out, I honestly don't think they will. I do worry that ESPN will win out in the end. I hope not, but I'm still in on they win, they're in. And I think they win, they're in. I don't think they put them at 4.
I thought you said but no, I agree 100%. If they win, they're in, and that's where we're at. We won, we took care of business. We're in there. You saw Michigan. They beat Iowa 26-0 or something, but they had their starting quarterback, and look, it was like it wasn't anything that much more special than what we did against a number 14 team, I believe, in the nation in Louisville. This was not no chump that we were facing. We faced a top 15 opponent, and you add to it already, great resume. So that's our third team that's in the current college football playoff rankings. You got to win over number 13, now win over number 14, and I believe number 23 in Clemson. So this team has everything it needs. And these guys, it was driving me nuts. I don't know about you, but I eventually, second half, I just completely muted the broadcast. They just kept on and on and on with this narrative about, oh, well, look how they look with their third string quarterback. Are we going to put him in? They act like Tate Rodemaker's out for like a year or something. The dude is in concussion protocol. He almost made it out for this game.
And again, I think people need to understand Daryl Jackson's going to play.
Yes, sir.
And did you see that defense tonight? By the way, and we were texting, I'm telling you right now, I am a full Adam Fuller groupie at this point. It is over for me. I've been one since like day one anyway. And I know everybody was down on him. But like, I think James Coleman agrees with me on this. We are like, this is a Adam Fuller is a dog. Like, he is amazing. And what he's done with what he has or had, I mean, now he's got some major toys to play with. We know that. But what he did, even when people were like down on him and everything, I'm sorry. Like, give me a statue. I need a statue.
Look,
like on my mantle.
You cannot say enough for Adam Fuller and the job he did in this game. I mean, his defense was left hanging out to dry over and over again. I believe there was 8 3-and-outs before we finally went on a run there in the fourth quarter. And time again, this defense stepped up, put in bad situations. I think a critical point in this game, one of the part of the game that really kind of turned the momentum for the last time and put it in the Noles' favor the rest of the way was that touchdown in the end zone by Tatum Bethune. That was huge. From that point forward, what did I say? The touchdown? The interception, the interception in the end zone by Tatum Bethune. He gets down on the ground. You bring it out to the 20-yard line, and the Noles really never looked back after that. The pass rush really just turned it up. And Jared Verse, man, that guy, if he's not a first rounder, I don't know what is, because he just absolutely destroyed the past couple of weeks. And in that fourth quarter, he was just, again, in that late in the fourth quarter, you saw him just completely take a tackle, just kind of like the Florida game last week, and just throw him into the quarterback. It's unreal.
Way to make that money at the end of the year, my man. Good for you.
No doubt. And we'd be remiss if we didn't also throw love out there for Braden Fisk. What a game he had. Oh, my
gosh. I mean, so I had a friend ask me, and I didn't really notice this. Maybe you know it. Does he have no name on his jersey?
Who?
Braden Fisk.
I did not catch that.
Okay, because somebody asked me that, and I've never caught it. And if somebody saw it, y'all please let me know. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know the answer.
Yeah, let's check our comments here, but I did not notice that, but it would not surprise me one bit. He's, I'm not sure where he's actually from, but came from Central Michigan. So if he is from that, kind of Detroit, Michigan area up there, there's a real work mentality up there. So it wouldn't surprise me one bit to see him have something like that on the back of his jersey. That would fit perfectly in with the kind of guy he is, and kind of doing that 100-yard run every day at practice. It's just emblematic of his personality and that kind of blue-collar work ethic. So I love to see it. He was from play one to the very last play of the game. Braden Fisk was living in the backfield, and you saw it, because Louisville obviously did absolutely nothing on offense, only scored 6 points. But when you have a center coming up, not a center, but a nose tackle or a defensive tackle coming up the middle like that through the A gaps, it's impossible to run your offense. And he lived in the backfield the entire game.
He did. I mean, it was really incredible. And I actually had a Notre Dame fan be like, well, y'all stole Braden Fisk from us, and we really wanted him, but he didn't really do anything this year. And I was like, I guess he does. I first started watching football too.
I guess he does have that on the back of his jersey. No name. That's awesome.
Okay.
You love to see that. I'm glad you caught that. I didn't see that.
I didn't catch it. My friend that actually called into the show that night, remember that you hung up on him?
Oh, Brad.
He's the one who caught it. He texted me and was like, hey, what's up with the no name? And I said, I honestly don't know. I've never caught it. But he caught it.
Kev with the nice comment there that says, because the name in the front is bigger than the name on the back. No doubt, man. This whole team just has that mentality. When one guy goes down, they really step up for each other. And this offensive line, this defensive line, kind of the mentality they have had, the hockey style changes they've done, especially on the defensive line, and even rotating out on that offensive line. You see Keandre Jones come in late and really dominate running the ball. They just wear down on guys. And in the fourth quarter, teams cannot stop the Florida State run. And inversely, they cannot run it on Florida State. They can't pass it. They really can't do anything against Florida State in the fourth quarter. And here we are, 13-0. Unreal. Defense wins championships. And Adam Fuller, I'll tell you what, if he doesn't get a head coaching job coming out of this year, there's nothing any Florida State fan, and you texted me this when we were watching the game live. No person that has anything to do with Florida State or even anybody nationally should ever fix their mouths to say one thing negatively about Adam Fuller, because he's just an absolute beast. What was your favorite thing out of that defense, man? Anything you want to talk about from your guy, Adam Fuller?
Look, there were so many favorite things out of that defense. Look, I think okay, by the way, so before Louisville, okay, and I'm just waiting again, maybe I'm just being negative. I'm waiting for the analysts to start doing this, but before this game, Louisville's defense was very good. Louisville's offense was explosive, okay? That's what they said. That's what they said.
Right.
Now, I'm sure in the morning, well, Louisville wasn't very good. They lost to Kentucky. I already know it. You know it. I know it. We already know where this is going. But
all that stuff where you lose to a rival that goes out of the window for an ACC team. I'm sorry, I didn't mean
absolutely. They blew out this supposedly explosive offense, and they made them look worse than our third stringer out there. So I have no words for anybody. I'm sorry, Louisville. I don't have any words for you. Jeff Brom lost the Coach of the Year award correctly. And y'all had a full squad, and this is what you put on the field. And again, Florida State rose up. That defense was so good. Again, okay, you wanted to know what my favorite one? The interception. That's it. Tatum Bethune. That was it. That was
a huge moment in the game. For those of y'all just joining us, look, guys, the Noles are 13-0 ACC champs. We've got a bunch of comments like that in there. If you have any questions, throw them up there. Super chats will get them up on the screen. Florida State wins it 16-6 over the Louisville Cardinals, who were 10-2 coming into the game. They're now 10-3. Florida State moves to 13-0 for the first time since 2014. I'm going to read off a little bit of stats here to brag on the Florida State defense. Jake Plummer was 14 for 36. You're talking about a little bit over, like, I don't know, maybe 38% passing for Jake Plummer. A 5th or 6th year guy who was one of the better quarterbacks in the ACC all year. He had 3,000 yards, 21 touchdowns with 11 interceptions. Tonight, he had 111 yards with 1 interception with 7 sacks, guys. He had 13 carries. He was out there running for his life. Jawar Jordan, if you follow like the Nolecast and stuff, Buddy Elliott with his prize picks, he had Jawar Jordan to rush for less than 70 yards. Sure enough, that hits. Jawar Jordan only had 14 rushes for 52 yards, 0 touchdowns. Turner, one of the backups, ended up having the big carry there for, I believe, 20 or 30 yards. He had 41 yards. But besides that, absolutely nothing doing. Thrash was 7 for 57 receiving, but really never led to nothing. Jawar Jordan, obviously, also with 3 of 21, but just an absolute dominant performance by Florida State. And if y'all give me a minute, I'll pull up the defensive stats here. Patrick Payton comes in with 6 tackles, 1 sack on the night. Braden Fisk, 5 tackles, 2 assisted tackles, 3 sacks on the night. You just got to love that for Braden Fisk. For Braden Fisk to have 3 sacks. I mean, a sack is like a jewel of all the kind of stats you can get. Sacks are huge statistics to pick up for these guys on their NFL draft resumes and to put on their tape on the kind of the highest stage in the Atlantic Coast Conference in the championship game. 3 sacks for a defensive tackle is just unreal. And then you go on down the line. Jared Verse, 5 tackles, 2 sacks on the night. He had 2.5 sacks against Florida. So after all the junk talked about Jared Verse and his kind of production versus where he is on the draft boards, he goes out and gets about 5 sacks in the last 2 games of the year. And we still got at least 1 more to go, possibly 2 more to go, depending on how it goes. Kalen DeLoach had another big night. It didn't really show out on the stat sheet, but they were kind of. You can tell they game planned to try to throw around Kalen DeLoach all night. He only had 1 tackle and 2 assisted there.
I kind of feel like he was everywhere, though. I think he was causing a lot of disruption, honestly.
For sure. There's no doubt. Kalen DeLoach didn't fill up the stat sheet, but on the year, it's unreal. He leads Florida State in several categories.
I think he's the player of the I'm sorry, but he's the player of the year for me because of the play at Clemson. I'm sorry. That was I don't know. Maybe that's
I'm gonna read this comment. We usually get one good comment from Cody Tompkins every week. I'm not trying to be negative, but all the fans calling for Brock last week, please pay more attention to the team. Put them in the playoffs, and Tate brings home some hardware with that defense. Look, I couldn't agree more. The backup quarterback is always the most popular person on the team. Obviously, Tate Rodemaker wasn't that guy when you have a Heisman candidate and a guy with Jordan Travis, who if he'd have played against Louisville, who knows, maybe he had a chance to bring home that hardware with a big win over Florida and a big win over Louisville. Certainly agree with you. They probably win by 100. But look, yeah, guys, be careful when you're calling for the backup and you want to see Brock go out there, because at the end of the day, and this is what I was trying to tell people, and we talked about a ton on the different podcasts we did, the podcast we did Friday, we really talked about this subject. Look, you want Tate Rodemaker to be available. You want to, if you have to turn to Brock Glenn, that's great, turn to him, but you don't want to rely on a true freshman going into an ACC championship or a playoff scenario where it's him or nothing. You got nothing but a Wildcat formation behind you. So you didn't like that. You don't want that situation. You saw it unfold tonight against Louisville. But luckily enough, the defense holds true and counter, to what they said all night on that damned broadcast. Tate Rodemaker is okay. He's not lost for the season. He will be coming back. And thanks for the comment, Cody. And I'm sorry, Jen, I had to go on that rant there. I don't know if you had anything to say on that subject before we move on.
No, you're totally fine. You got everything I wanted to hit. You're good.
Good deal. Philippe Garcia says, I thought Fisk should have won MVP tonight. Well, we came right out here to get with you guys and talk about the game. I didn't see the kind of the MVP award there. I'm guessing maybe Verse got it, but I would definitely gone with Fisk too. I agree. He was an absolute terror from the very start to the end. There was no lull in his game from the very first play to the last play of the night. 55 was living in the backfield the entire time.
Now, is Fisk one and done, or is he?
I wish I had put my eyes on it, but I'm pretty sure he's gone. I don't believe he has the option to come back. There may be a possible chance for another year, but if I'm not mistaken, he's a 1-year guy. So yeah, as nice as it would be to have him back.
Thanks, Louisville fan. We appreciate it.
Yeah, some class there from Sports Talk with Austin. Congratulations, Florida State fans. You guys earned it. Heartbreaking end for me as a Louisville fan. Look, guys, Louisville has been stuck in that Atlantic division, and we've said it year in, year out. People like to harp on a team like NC State or Louisville. It's like, oh, well, what have they ever done? They go 9-3 or 10 wins here and there, and they haven't won the ACC. They were stuck in a clog of the top 5 or top 6 teams in the ACC year in, year out. When you have to play FSU, when you have to play Clemson, when you have to play NC State, and one of your easy games is an extremely physical Boston College team that beats the crap out of you every time you play with them. It's not easy. So it was awesome to see Louisville in year 1 of Jeff Brom be able to make a run to the ACC title game. And we actually have another one of the top 3 or 4 ACC teams represent the Atlantic Coast Conference in that championship game. So it was glad to play y'all, glad to have the competition. And even though y'all weren't on the schedule, to get to play you guys this year. And I'm sure Jeff Brom will get that thing going. If you've been following Louisville and kind of the culture around there, they've been wanting Jeff Brom to come home for a lot of years. And they finally get him home from Purdue, and it did not disappoint.
I remember when Tennessee went after Jeff Brom, to be honest.
Brad wants to know why we hung up on him on the last call-in show. We didn't mean anything by it.
Hello, Bradley. Nice of you to join.
Again, if you guys have any questions, throw them up there. Florida State 13-0 ACC champions. We just want to let you guys know that this show is brought to you guys by Ticketsmarter.com. You can go to Ticketsmarter.com, download the app, get your tickets for the playoff or any of the bowl games coming up, concerts coming to your town, whatever the case may be. They're one of the safest, most secure ways for you to get those second-hand, second market tickets of your choice for any kind of concert. It's Ticketsmarter.com. You have the promo code BIG and the promo code BIG20. You can save $10 on your purchase of $100 or more with the promo code BIG, or save $20 off your purchase of $300 or more with the promo code BIG20. Again, that's at Ticketsmarter.com. But yeah, we had some fun with the call-in show over on our channel at the Renegade Report right here at YouTube. If you guys aren't following over there, go ahead and make sure you do that right now. But yeah, man, I agree with all the comments. Kim throws up a comment there: best defensive performance I've ever seen. It really is akin to some of these performances we've seen back in the late 90s, early 2000s from those great teams where you see a 13-7, a 16-6 kind of performance. Everybody loves defense until it's Florida State, the one that's playing it. If this were a SEC team, it'd be ooh gaga, goo goo gaga, just like in 09. Was it 09 when LSU and Bama had
gutsy, resilient win, right? That's what it is. And I guarantee you, if Georgia was playing Missouri, who is ranked 14, what is Missouri right now? What?
Somewhere 12? Around there, probably 11, I think.
If Georgia was playing Missouri right now and had beat them by, say, 3, it would be, what a gutsy performance. What a gutsy performance. That really is gutsy. That's what they would say. And, again, I was never advocating for Florida State to be left out. I was saying what ESPN would be saying, and I was proven right.
Oh yeah, I played the opposite side, which I obviously believed, and you were right there saying, look, I agree with you, that's how it should be, but watch them try to sneak them in. Watch them try to sneak them in. And sure enough, there's no doubt that they are trying to sneak them in. And also, like I said, look, there's no way they're not going to do it. And if they do, there's going to be some kind of crazy uproar. And here we are. Alabama beat Georgia. And they just talk that up like it shows how great the SEC is. I kind of did, but like at the same time, you kind of give Georgia the credit. But look, the SEC just hasn't been all that. Look how Georgia looked against Georgia Tech.
This year,
look how Alabama looked against Auburn.
100% right. And the fact that Tennessee is still ranked in the college football playoff is beyond crazy to me.
All of a sudden, Alabama started looking great when they started playing terrible defenses. You play LSU.
Isn't that amazing?
Oh, wow, great. Milroe can chunk it all over the yard. It's like, they played them great. They had a great defensive performance, but not quite as good as when FSU played them.
I was watching, I watched Alabama, Georgia, and I feel like, okay, so I'm guessing, okay, so who's going to be number 1? I just need to pull this out because I saw a play with Alabama. Alabama is going to be, I would think, 4. If they keep Florida State in, Florida State's got to be 3. I'm sorry, they did not do anything.
They can't put Alabama. They can't put Alabama in over Texas. The SEC is looking at being left out. We're going to see what happens, but it should be Michigan, Washington, Florida State, Texas. That's your final 4, and maybe they put Texas ahead of Florida State. We'll see, but Florida State's going to be in there.
By the way, one-loss team is not going in over an undefeated team.
No,
not with Texas's strength of schedule. I'm sorry, it's just not happening.
Well, you got to have one on. There's only 3 undefeated teams.
I know.
So that's what I'm saying. So Texas is one loss.
But a one-loss team is not jumping.
Besides Texas, you're talking about.
I don't think any of them should.
There's only 3 undefeated teams, Jen. So
I know,
you're gonna have one in there, but there's not gonna be 2 one losses is what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying either Alabama or Texas is not jumping Florida State.
Right.
Because you would be telling Florida State they have to play their way out of the top 4, which they did not do.
No way in heck. I agree 100%.
So, and Alabama was at 8. Right? They're at 8. So you're telling me they would be able to jump what? 5 spots? Yeah, I don't think so.
No, the
With a
argument,
3-point win?
the
No.
question is who takes that fourth spot, and it's down to pretty much Alabama and Texas. And as much as the SEC wants to get Alabama in there, Texas had the head-to-head win, and they look just as impressive against a top whatever number 16 Oklahoma State as Alabama did, beating a Georgia team who, even though they're number one, I mean, they're hanging their hat on Ole Miss and Missouri. And say what you want, Ole Miss and Missouri are propped up in that top 15 just by SEC. That's it. Just SEC.
Okay,
that's it.
But they are there, but they're still there. And Texas's strength of schedule compared to Alabama, I get the head of head, but I'm telling you what they're going to do. Like, if they can't kick Florida State out, they're getting Alabama in, and that means Texas is sacrificed. I'm telling you that right now.
Well, that's a conversation. It's Texas or Bama, so we will see. Let's get a question in here. We got Markel Williams. Do you think tonight's performance from the defense opens up Xavier Mincy's eyes or any uncommitted recruit? Look, Xavier Mincy is a guy who I had pretty much given up on. I thought he was kind of all Florida because Florida had really invested their resources in him, and we kind of went Jamari Howard route. We end up getting the commitment from Jamari Howard. Now we've got a commitment from Kai Bates since then. So look, I would love to get another top 100 defensive back in this class, and that'd be a 6 blue chip DBs in this class. It might be the best defensive back class of all time. So we'll see, because I don't think UF is really in a position to go toe-to-toe with us on a recruit. They better watch out. LJ McCray kind of dissed us when he left, but there's still a chance that they're still trying to flip that guy. So we'll see what happens. I think I had predicted Kai Bates on our show last week right before he committed, along with a couple other guys. One of the other guys was Coy Parrish. I think of Coy Parrish, a guy, from the Midwest who's all about some tough football. He's a safety. We're hoping he can come down here and play linebacker. Hopefully he saw this game in the defensive excellence by Adam Fuller and the scheme they play down here and how this team plays for each other. Hopefully it can affect him. Hopefully we can get Coy Parrish in the fold and maybe some more defensive linemen out there who are kind of few and far between in this class of 2024.
So, George, what do you think Mincy goes? Because I have a feeling it's going to be Miami.
I wouldn't doubt that. Look, he seems like a guy who wanted to stay in state, and for all the reasons I said, it kind of seemed like Florida was the team. But the way the season played out, look, hey, games got played. And it appears on the field, it seems like Miami may have things a little bit better together than Florida. Now, whether that's perception or the truth or not, I don't know. So, yeah, I think it could probably come down to a Florida-Miami battle.
I
or
think it's more of
Florida
a
State
Miami.
decides.
I think it's more of a Miami is very desperate right now for those players. And when Miami gets desperate, it gets crazy. So, look, I think Florida's in a better place than Miami is. I'm going to put that on the table. I believe it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough. It's like arguing sardines or Brussels sprouts. I don't know if there's a real clear winner there.
I just think I think Mincy is more of a Miami thing.
Miami's set up better for talent.
Because Florida is exploding, which I do love to see. I just don't. I think Miami is desperate, and I think they're throwing like noodles at a wall to see what sticks. That's just what I feel like.
Yeah, the thing about it is Miami, Mario's recruited better, and he had a better, he was smart the way he recruited more 3-stars in this class because he knew the year on the field wasn't going to be great. And they really have done a great job recruiting the trenches no matter what, year in, year out. So I think Miami kind of has the better roster going into 24, but Florida, I'd prefer their coaching staff, but at the same time, the play on the field has gone so far back, and they're losing so many guys in the portal. As much as I hate Miami, and I even said myself, I like Napier better as a coach. I just feel like structurally, Miami just has more things in its favor if Mario can get out of the way.
I don't know. I love Florida's playmakers to me, and Miami has none.
That's
how I feel.
We shall see. I definitely like number 3. What's his name? Trey Wilson. Trey Wilson. Yeah, I like him. He is a good player, and obviously the running backs.
Really
but I don't know if they get the running backs back at this point. We'll see. Um, Again, guys, if you have any questions or comments, get them up there and we will put them up, throw them up, and answer your questions. We appreciate all the super chats and all that stuff. And again, it's ticketsmarter.com for all
So
your
George,
ticket
how are you
needs.
feeling? How are you feeling being 13-0? Like, how are you feeling?
I'm pumped. I can't wait to get, 30 days, basically. It may not be exactly 30 days, but that's how long we have between now and the college football playoff. That's how long we have to get Tate more comfortable and to work through the issues that they have found, with Brock Glenn having to go up out there. So, they've got that much time to come up with a game plan. I have a feeling they may really harp on that wildcat, come up with some different offensive schemes during this. I guess you would call it miniature camp, playoff camp that
Yeah.
you have here, with these another 10 to 15 practices that you end up getting. Maybe you see a good 10 to 15 snaps on offense in the playoff from that Wildcat. I don't know if Toafili got hurt or what the reasoning behind not throwing him back here in control of that Wildcat in the second half. I thought they were extremely successful with it early on, and he did a great job of setting his blocks up, more so than Trey Benson when he was in there. But for whatever reason, they put Trey out the last 3 or 4 Wildcat snaps we had. So we'll see how that plays out moving forward. But just excited to be 13-0 for the first time in so long, man. Mike Norvell has came in here on a trajectory. It feels nice to be right, man. I tell you what, for the past 2 years, it's been pretty rough out there on those Twitter streets. I guess now you call them the X streets, the Facebook streets, trying to convince people what Mike Norvell was building and the vision for the future and what he was doing out of the transfer portal. Everybody wants to tell you that he was just adding Band-Aids and these one-year rentals, and you can't sustain it through the portal and this stuff. But I tried to explain to people he brought guys in for the long haul, guys that would be here 2, 3, sometimes 4, and even 5 years out of the portal. You're seeing some of the high school guys out of his even transition COVID class, like Tate Rodemaker, still be here and be in crucial roles 4 years later. You're seeing as the talents came up, the 21, the 22 class, more and more players playing earlier. It's just a beautiful thing to see. It's a beautiful thing to see Florida State number 3 in the recruiting rankings. It's a beautiful thing to see Kai Bates commit and who's going to be next. I still think Jeremiah Smith flips. I'm waiting for that day. Hopefully that day comes before the playoff, and I believe it does. National Signing Day, if I'm not sure exactly. I don't want to lie to you guys, but it's like a few days, I think, prior to the playoff. It's at the end of December right there, maybe December 30th or something like that. So I can't wait for early signing day.
I thought it was like in the 15th or the 20th. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I don't think it's that earlier, but I could be mistaken. But we've got early signing day coming up, and also a big thing that we get coming up, not tomorrow, but the next day, Monday, December 4th, the transfer portal officially opens. And when I say officially opens, all the names that you guys have seen here the past 3 or 4 days have been graduate transfers, either, graduate transfers or people just throwing their name out there saying they intend to enter the transfer portal when it opens up December 4th, which is this Monday. And there's been a few changes to the transfer portal this year. If you're a recruit Nick like me, if you really follow us this thing, get over to renegadereport.substack.com. We put out a ton of articles concerning the portal, high school recruiting, and how these dates play out. Last year, you had a 45-day window that opened up right off the bat, and then you had a 15-day window in the spring to make for 60 total days of transfer portal shopping. It was unreal. It was a giant window. 45 days in the beginning, and in the spring you had another one. Well, they've dropped it down to 45 days total. So you have a 30-day window that begins December 4th, and then you'll have another 15-day window from May 1st to May 15th. That's the same as last year. But this portal thing is going to happen quick. It opens December 4th, and bam, right after the new year, January 4th or January 3rd, whatever it comes down to, it's over with. So a lot of these guys are going to hit the portal knowing where they're going, and Florida State isn't going to be searching for diamonds in the rough. They're not going to be begging guys. They're not going to be looking to do desperate moves. They're going to be filling gaps and taking the best of the best guys. They're going to be taking the best player off this team, the best player off of that team. If you talk to some people like Jen, they may get 5 to 7 guys. If you talk to me, I still think they're just they got to leverage this thing. Take 10 to 12 guys again, just because you're going to be taking such high level of athletes. And look, we've seen Tate Rodemaker for almost a full game and a half. We've already seen Brock Glenn for an entire ACC championship game. Look, you're going to have to look at going and getting a portal quarterback.
I agree with you now. I do.
You're going to get
I
a
agree with you. Yeah.
Who's that guy? Is there anybody that's hit the market yet, or is there anybody you're hoping can hit the market? Because look, we have no idea who's, we obviously Mike Norvell would never tamper. There'd never be any parties reaching out, but you don't know what stud sophomore, junior quarterback that's coming over. So who's at the top of your Christmas quarterback wish list?
Well, it's not at the top of my Christmas quarterback wish list, but I do think the smoke around DJ is real now. And I think, there's another quarterback that I think they were looking at. Was it the Tulane one?
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to hit or not, but yeah, that would be another one.
Fritz is going to leave, so
yeah, that would probably put him on the market for sure.
Yeah, I think it's in between him and DJ would be my guess. I don't know for sure, but I think so apparently, I think DJ really wants to be at Florida State. I was surprised that his top list wasn't Michigan State, to be real, because, his coach went to Michigan State.
All right.
So this could be like a revenge tour, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, it's awesome you say that, because I think that's kind of it. I'm not sure. I'm not sure, like you said. I know DJU definitely wants to be in at Florida State. I know there's a ton of interest there between him and Oregon, but I'm not sure how much Oregon or Florida State wants DJU. I don't know exactly where that is.
Oregon does. I think we were all surprised, but now I'm starting to think maybe Florida State does too.
Yeah, we will see.
I'm not gonna lie about it. I don't know.
I think it's kind of one of those things where it's still early. You're only seeing those graduate transfers. DJU is one of the early names up there. I definitely think Florida State will probably reach out, probably already have. I think there's a chance he could end up being at Florida State. I don't say he's not going to end up there, but I would say let's just hold our horses and see who hits. Yeah. We've got, like I said, a 30-day period that starts Monday, December 4th. Like I said, come check me out at renegadeport.substack.com. We're going to have a ton of articles because it's going to be nuts. I'm telling you, it's going to be like a waiver wire you've never seen come Monday, because there's going to be hundreds upon hundreds of top Power 5 FBS football players hit this transfer portal, and it's going to be the closest thing to a true free agency as we've had all along, contrary to prior belief.
I agree with you. Niner gang. I think Noles are in. I'm sorry. It's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I don't care how many. And again, none of these jerks were saying this when Clemson went undefeated. Not one, not a one, not a one.
Well, this is to be fair, I agree 100%, but to be fair, Clemson was kind of undersold in comparison. When they were going up against Bama, they acted like it was David versus Goliath, and how could Clemson possibly compete? It's like, Dabo. What are you talking about? No, I'm talking about ESPN and the narrative around it on the games, even the second go round. It's like, what are you talking about?
After the first one, maybe.
Yeah.
But the second one, that didn't
all
happen.
The way around
Florida State.
I disagree, but.
I'm sorry. I'm not seeing this. This is a whole. And by the way, they started this again. I'm going to say it again. They started again the day Jordan Travis got hurt. This whole narrative had nothing to do with Jordan Travis getting hurt, that they ran with, because they started it that morning. Everybody can go back and look if you don't believe me, but it happened that morning. He wasn't even hurt then, and they were saying they should be out. And now they're like, well, their quarterback's hurt. That's not what you were saying that day. You said that day it was the strength of schedule, which you never said about Clemson. So again, kick rocks.
Yeah. Again, this is extremely like there's never been a year like this, and it's just kind of funny that it's the year before the 12-team playoff that you end up with so many undefeated and then so many one losses. And I just love it, man. It would be so beautiful for the SEC
If
to
Georgia
be
just
left out.
like, if Georgia just kept taking care of business, we would have just had 4 undefeated teams in the playoff. Can you
Yep.
imagine?
Yeah, but they
That's
lost, so
it.
now the SEC is going to be left out, and I just love, love, love to
I
see it.
think you think that. I disagree. We'll see tomorrow.
What's that?
I said you think that. I disagree, and
Think
we'll
what?
see tomorrow. That the SEC is going to be left out. I disagree.
Oh, what do you think? Who do you think? You think they're going to put Bama in over Texas? Is what you
I
think?
absolutely do.
Hey,
They're
they
going to
could do it,
use.
man. Texas
They're
would
going to
be
use.
ready to riot.
Well, Texas can riot all they want to. They've been irrelevant as long as Miami has. So I don't have any words for you guys. But what I can say is
100%
that
disagree there. I don't. I think they deserve to be in. I don't.
look, they can
They beat
deserve
them
to
head
be
to head.
in.
I don't.
Well, okay.
Are you
I mean,
talking? I'm just
look,
confused.
all I'm
Are you
saying
saying
is
from an ESPN narrative, or are you saying that you think Texas is not important and they haven't been nothing, so screw them? I'm just saying, like, Texas
no.
should be in. Whether SEC gets the Bama in over them or not is up for debate. But I'm sorry, are you saying you think Bama should be in over Texas?
I think that's what's going to happen because of the strength of schedule.
They beat Bama head to head.
I agree with you. But Bama has more wins in the top 25 thanks to the committee with Tennessee.
Yeah.
Look. You can hate what I'm saying, but that's just the
No,
truth.
I don't hate what you're saying. I'm just trying to figure out what you are saying. I'm with you, man. We have no disagreement on the bias. I was just trying to nail down what your
that's where
thoughts
I'm
on it are.
going. That's where I'm going. I don't
You got to be
think
able to separate the
Texas
bias and
should
what
be
your
taken
opinion
out.
is.
I don't think Texas should be taken out because of Bama. I personally don't. I'm telling you there is no way that committee is leaving out the SEC champ. They're just not.
Yeah. I could see it. I disagree. I think Bama's left out, but we shall see. And Texas is going to be pissed. And like Cody says, didn't Bama start a different quarterback against Texas? Yeah, Milroe was benched. That's what I was talking about earlier. He didn't hit his stride until he faced like the worst secondary in all of the country against LSU. And then it's like, oh, man, all of a sudden they're great once they started, playing these bad defenses. So we'll see how it works out. But yeah, I have not been impressed with the SEC this year.
I
I
mean,
don't know
yeah.
what the crazy
And by the
the
way,
glow around any loss, an SEC loss, like boosts your damn resume. And anybody else, if they lose, it's they're out.
well,
SEC
here's the
lose a game,
thing.
it's like bump them up.
If I mean, again, yes, Texas had close games too, but Alabama was struggling with USF. Like we're not. I mean, again, I get you, Texas fans. I absolutely get you. I'm telling you what ESPN and the committee is probably going to do to you.
No doubt. McAfee called out Kirk on game day about what he thinks about FSU. I didn't see so much McAfee doing it, but Theo Vaughn, the segment where he came on was absolutely freaking awesome. He just totally called them about Florida State. They were like, oh, this and that about the quarterback. He said, I believe Theo Vaughn's line was Miss Doubtfire could be a quarterback for FSU in this game today, and they're going to get the win. And sure enough, they picked right. And, as much as Kirk talked, he went ahead and picked. I believe he was one of the guys that picked Florida State to win the game of the guys out there. But, yeah, as far as who they'll pick to go in, if Kirk and them had it his way, they would knock out Texas and Florida State and put in Georgia and Bama. But we'll see. We'll see who gets in, Bama or Texas. But yeah, if they threw Texas and Florida State out, oh my goodness, they might march on I don't know where wherever the college football committee is located at. Those two fan bases made to get together and march on the building.
What I will say is, I think if they put Texas in, then Alabama gets in and Florida State gets out.
Yeah, and we don't think that's going to happen.
I don't. I think Alabama gets in because. Again, they've been making that case on game. The Big 12, sorry for Texas, is worse than the ACC. Like, we cannot continue
That's not
this.
the argument, though. That's not the argument. It's not between us and them. It's totally separate. But yeah, I agree.
The argument that they're saying is that the ACC schedule is so bad and Florida State is so bad.
Right, but it's not going to come down between us and Texas. It's going to be coming down between Texas and Bama. That's the question.
Thank you.
We're 13
and again, I think they put in Bama, and I hope I'm wrong, because believe me, I would love it. I would love it if I'm wrong.
Yeah, the question is, who do we match up against in the first round of the playoffs? And we look at the rankings, and we can have this conversation all night. We can dance the night away talking about who ends up 3 or 4, but we're pretty much sure it's either going to be Michigan or who's going to be number 2. I'm having blanking here. You got Michigan as a Big Ten champ. Number 2 will be Washington. Yes. Okay. I had them lost out of there. So it's it'll definitely be Michigan 1, Washington number 2. So yeah, if you can get number 3, which is what the committee should do, if the committee puts Michigan 1, Washington 2, and FSU 3, you get first round against Washington. I mean, that's a dream matchup for the first round.
I absolutely love that matchup.
Tate Rodemaker versus that, Pac-12 defense that I've been talking about all year that I'm not that impressed
against
by.
That Pac-12 defense. Give me.
I'm not going to go that far.
I will. I'll do it.
But the defense, the big thing is, I believe our defense would just absolutely show out against that Washington offense, and that'd be a great matchup first round. Honestly, just throw UGA out of there. I love it. I love the fact that UGA lost and we don't have to worry about them. Keep Bama out of it. I don't care. Texas looks.
I think Georgia's out. Georgia's out.
Texas probably look like they might have been the best out of anybody on championship weekend. If we're being honest, their offense really looked great out there against Oklahoma State, but it's Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma State got blown out by San Diego State. So if we're gonna go down that road, I get it.
If we're gonna go down that road, then Louisville got blown out by Kentucky, and we could do that all night. But
I can do it all night, and there's only a couple of undefeated teams, and so the undefeated teams deserve it.
Yeah, we're not.
They didn't lose.
We are in for sure. There's no doubt about it. There is no doubt about that.
That's how I feel. I'm sorry. We're in. We win. We're in. And all these people crying, grown men on national TV, can just get over it.
Yeah, no doubt. There is no doubt about that.
Joel
we were talking about who we match up in the first round, Jen. They've got you so pissed off about these things. But yeah, we're talking about who we would match up with in the first round.
Okay.
We are in, Jen. But we're either going to play Washington or Michigan first round, depending on, and that's right back to that argument. But I think they'll do the right thing. I think we'll come in at 3, and then it's one of those one loss. So whoever that one loss team is, that's who they're going to slot in at 4. But if they did put us 4, I'll be pissed about that because we shouldn't have to play Michigan.
Honestly, I could see them trying to do that. But honestly, I love give me our wide receivers against Michigan's corners if Tate plays right. And
Tate's going to be like damn Tom Brady next time we see him after watching Brock.
Michigan actually have a really good chance. I think Florida State has a good chance against Michigan. I'm sorry, I do.
Oh yeah. It'd just be a super physical game, and you would come out of there beat up. But yeah, as far as the matchup, yeah, they win it. But it would be a knockdown slugfest battle. It's kind of like super similar built rosters, to be honest.
Or Washington, does Bama scare me? Not really. No. Actually, no, they don't.
No, there's no team out there that, quote unquote, scares me. But the way the playoff lines up, I think the Washington game, you could possibly, if you can win that one, be a little bit less, I don't know, hurt or worn down or whatever the case may be, and you can go out there and get Michigan. Or if you got to face them, right out of the box, it is what it is. But yeah, I think Washington would be a great first round matchup. Maybe we can go out there and put out a good showing. If you could win even one game in this playoff, you're talking about being way ahead of schedule for what Mike Norvell's dealt with and where we just were 2 years ago.
I'm so upset that Ohio State didn't meet Michigan because I think Ohio State would have been the best matchup for Florida State, honestly.
Who do you think the best matchup is?
I thought it would have been Ohio State for Florida State.
Oh, well, they're not getting in, sweetie. Unfortunately.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I was saying I was upset that Ohio State was taken out because
that would have been a fun one for sure.
That would have been a really good matchup. And
I wanted to see 8 versus that wide receiver they got. That would have been fun. That would have been a great challenge for him. And the safeties coming over top.
So, yeah, I think Michigan actually is a good matchup for Florida State. I think they actually match up really well. So I don't understand this whole hatred saying Florida State's going to be favored by, or the other team is going to be favored by way too much. And sorry, somebody is answering a phone behind me.
It's all good.
Lord. And it totally threw me off.
Yeah, Hypnotic Anonymous there with the comment. Daryl Jackson added to the defense. Whoa, buddy. Yeah, that is another big time part of this game that people do not realize throughout the nation. And it's a part that when you listen to them all night, jibber jabber on that damn broadcast, excuse my language, they don't bring that up. They don't bring up that Daryl Jackson is coming back to this team for this playoff run or bowl game, which I'm not even going to mention that. There's no chance we go to a bowl game. We're going to the playoff. And look, you saw just how dominant this defense is. Okay, they at least gave us the credit that Florida State did have a playoff or national championship caliber defense. There's no arguing that. To add the dude who's probably the best defensive tackle or defensive lineman in the entire bunch, right up there with Jared Verse, to this thing. Oh yeah, let's wait till Daryl Jackson jumps out there on defense. Yeah, I don't see any of the teams in the playoffs running the football on us. Period. So as much as everybody wants to talk crap, I think we have the best complete team. It's just such a shame that Jordan Travis isn't here, to try to make this national championship run. But it's not over with. And Tate Rodemaker is coming back, and we will have somewhat of an offense to be ready to go play in that first game. For sure.
Yes. Stay on Facebook. Facebook is no, that's dead. Stay on Facebook.
That 4-hour show is going to be an absolute nightmare. It's going to be 4 hours why the committee should leave out Florida State and put Texas and Bama in there, or UGA and Bama and leave Texas out, or whatever the case may be. But yeah, we're not going to talk about that anymore. FSU is in. And it all comes down to how healthy this team can get between here and those New Year's 6 matchups, playoff matchups, if you will, on December 31st. Man, it's pretty wild, man. Like you talked about at the beginning, how does it feel? It's like we all picked it 11-1, 10-2, 12-0. Some people picked it. But here we are, 13-0 ACC champs, getting ready for the playoffs. Almost exactly 10 years to the day that we lost to Oregon in the very first ever playoff. Here we are in the very last 4-team playoff, right back where the Noles deserve, with a chance for a championship. Here we go. What do you think? You think we can get one of them? Do you think we make it all the way to the championship? What do you think? What do you think happens, Jen? You think we can sneak away, be the Cinderella story here in this playoff scenario?
I love Cinderella stories, and I need to see where we're seated at before I do that. And on Tuesday, we will have somebody who will break it down for us. Just saying.
Heck yeah, for sure. Make sure you guys check us over there at the Renegade Report right here on YouTube. And we also have the guys from Unconquered Talk coming on tomorrow night, yes. I believe at 7:30 for a podcast. So come check that one out as well too. And don't forget, we are brought to you by Ticketsmarter.com. Promo code BIG on your purchases of $100 or more to save $10 off of your purchase. Promo code BIG20 to save $20 or more on your purchase of $300 or more. Again, that's Ticketsmarter.com. Make sure you go over on X, the old Twitter app, and follow Jen Santy over there at JenSanty1890 on X, and you can find her on Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff. And again, go over and check out our podcast channel at The Renegade Report right here on YouTube, and you can go check out my written article site with the audio only podcast and all that stuff at renegadereport.substack.com. If you guys have any more questions, get them in, get the questions in on the comments, and we will throw them up and answer your questions, any comments you have. Before we get out of here, as we close in on an hour, is there anything you wanted to get off your chest? Any takes you had for the people before we get out of here, Jen?
No, I honestly, I'm just so excited. I've been such a Mike Norvell, fan. Obviously, I'm from Memphis. I live in Memphis, but a lifelong Knoll, obviously, before any of that. But for him and for this team, I just can't imagine what they could have done if Jordan was healthy. But that's not even the thing. Watching them in these last 2 games just win. Like, they won, and they won big. And I don't care what anybody says with the score. They really did it. They did something special. And you can hate it, but I feel like as a Florida State fan, you should love it and you should respect it. And I'm giving all my shout outs, all my love to that coaching staff.
I could not agree more. You hear it all the time, built by storms. And I said at the beginning of this broadcast, when you're watching this game, I know it had to go through the mind of everybody out there that knows ball. All year long, this Florida State team has been able to rotate their defensive linemen, rotate their offensive linemen to a lesser extent, sometimes out of necessity. But still, they rotated deep in the trenches. They rotated the linebackers. They rotated the DBs, the wide receivers, everybody. So when we got to the fourth quarter of these games, Florida State just leaned on people. Everybody got their blocks, and you could not stop the Florida State run game in the fourth quarter. And yet again, even though you only have 8, 9, 3 and outs, the offense was just at a complete time of possession disadvantage. They were still able to rotate that defense enough to keep it fresh, to make the big plays, and to do that with your third string quarterback who was just completely struggling his butt off out there, getting delayed games, just getting set back every time, throwing screens just almost straightly to the opponent. Just an amazing testament to Adam Fuller, Mike Norvell, the entire coaching staff, and like Smooth Criminal talks about here, how you don't hear about the discipline on this team, just extremely disciplined.
I mean, let's go back to the Willie Taggart days.
Oh my God,
Lord.
Let's not.
You're right. I mean, just look at the change. That's what I was saying. Like, look at the change. How many penalties
really
did Florida State have? How many penalties do we have tonight?
It was a long, long time before we had our first. I think it was sometime into the second period, and it was just, that one penalty. What was it?
That's a false start? Insane.
I think we had a delay game.
It was delay game, But that's insane. And so much credit goes to them. So much credit goes to this team. If they get left out, which I don't think they will, I honestly, that's just, it's not going to happen. And, whatever. But, man, that's an amazing run. They've won now, 19 games in a row?
Yes, I believe this makes number 19 going that's all the way back.
That's insane. It's really insane.
There's no doubt about it. It's the second long. Well, I don't know. There's been a bunch of streaks, but the streak in 2000, from the end of 2012 to 2014, got to, I believe, 29 games. So we just need to win the playoffs, and then make it to November of next year, and we'll be looking to break that record, which would be pretty damn awesome. Talking about the depth, we will keep it rolling. I like this comment. We'll throw this up here before we get out of here. Adam Fuller looks like an 80s wrestler on the sideline. And if y'all have them looks like jokes, y'all should always throw the looks like jokes anytime I'm hosting a show, because I will throw those up there, especially if you make me laugh. That one got me to crack a little bit of a smile, but we'll see what you got next time, Stacy. George, the best example, the best example about rotation was the defensive stand after the Cards tackled the punter and prevented the TD. Absolutely. You want to talk about what Jim was talking about? Go back to the Taggart days, or even the late Jimbo days, the early Mike days. you put your defense in a bad situation like that where they're already been on the field for tons of time, yeah, you're giving up a touchdown there. For them to stiffen up like that, force them to throw it, and then get the pick in the end zone, unreal. Just a testament to the depth. And yeah, to me, the whole fourth quarter, that's the depth. That's what shows the depth. When all of a sudden you can start to run, that isn't, it's not by any accident. That's just one-on-one guys getting their ass kicked. Excuse my language or my French, whatever you want to call it, for 55 or 45 minutes, and then that last 15 minutes is tough. And 3 penalties for 20 yards is what it was.
Okay.
It came out to be. But yeah, there was
Which
only
actually is like, that's crazy considering what we were used to, you know?
Oh,
like
yeah.
it.
Miles and miles. We have come miles and miles. It's a beautiful thing to be the team that doesn't make mistakes. It's, and to such a level that we beat other teams that, you know, don't beat themselves. So it's a beautiful thing. You guys are out there at, you know, FSU Nell Nation. Y'all are a thing of beauty. We appreciate you joining us here for the Voice of College Football post-game show. Jen, you're the best. You got anything for them? We will get out of here on whatever you got.
You know what? No, I think Nole fans, go celebrate this win. Enjoy it. Don't worry about what anybody says about the team. Just go enjoy this. You're making it into the playoffs. It's happening. It's done. You won. You're in. It's over. Can you believe it? And it's Mike, it's the staff, it's this team. Just enjoy it. Don't be upset. Like, just have a great night.
And we got Wilson. He absolutely he got the punk Brownlee at least one time for you in the game. So we will end on that note, and we will see you guys Sunday over at the Renegade Report with the Unconquered Talk guys. And also be sure to catch us Wednesday on your weekly FSU Voice of College Football live stream. Go Noles.
Night, guys.